Welcome to this clinical explainer. Let's get straight into it, because today we're definitively unpacking how RevoShap StimuHA completely outpaces legacy multi-product layering protocols. Look, if you're a physician navigating the modern aesthetic landscape, you already know that the shift from traditional dermal filling to actual structural regeneration is the single most important trend in our field today. So we're going to dive right into the peer-reviewed science and the hard clinical data behind a unified hybrid matrix that is, frankly, fundamentally changing lower face rejuvenation.
Here is our strictly evidence-based agenda for today. We'll cover 1. The passive layering problem, 2. The unified hybrid matrix, 3. Biological induction via CD44, 4. The Paris 2025 clinical proof, 5. The safety and reversibility profile, and finally, 6. Optimizing clinic efficiency.
Section 1. The passive layering problem.
To really appreciate this innovation, we first need to objectively examine a major clinical flaw in how the aesthetic market has historically approached facial aging. You know the drill. For years, we've basically been forced to navigate a split market, choosing between two distinct silos. On one hand, you have your high-viscosity structural fillers for projection. On the other, low-viscosity boosters for skin hydration. The underlying flaw here? These are entirely passive technologies. Sure, they provide space-filling mechanical displacement, but they do absolutely nothing to stimulate active tissue regeneration.
And this split market creates a massive procedural burden. Think about it. Layering traditional Vicross or NASHA technologies means you're using 2 syringes across multiple injection depths. That literally doubles the physical trauma to your patient and easily pushes your active chair time to 45 minutes or more. In stark contrast, RevoShap gives us a unified single syringe solution that takes just 20 minutes.
Section 2. The Unified Hybrid Matrix.
What's fascinating here is how advancements in rheology have effectively collapsed those 2 distinct product silos right into one. We know the clinical performance of any dermal filler is governed by its elastic modulus, or G'. Well, RevoShap achieves a phenomenal G' of 425 pascals. To put that into perspective, it outperforms standard volumizers like Restylane Lift, which sits at 385 pascals, and dramatically outpaces Juvederm Voluma. You're getting true bone-mimicking projection that stays exactly where you place it. Now, historically, manufacturing forces a compromise, right? NASHA technology gives you a firm gel but lacks cohesivity, leading to somewhat segmented integration. Vicross improves that cohesivity, but then you sacrifice that absolute lifting power. RevoShap totally resolves this. Crucially, its density doesn't sacrifice cohesivity at all. The matrix guarantees high extrusion force efficiency, which is an absolute game changer for a busy professional aesthetic clinic because it's smooth to inject while simultaneously flawlessly supporting natural movement during facial expressions. You get all the firmness without that dreaded overfilled look.
Section 3. Biological induction via CD44.
Let's move down to the dermal layers and look at how this transitions from a purely mechanical lift into genuine biological regeneration. The defining innovation of the RevoShap hybrid actually isn't just its structural hold. It's the integration of highly specific oligo-HA fragments directly into the high-density matrix. We're talking about free, uncross-linked, ultra-low molecular weight hyaluronic acid fragments, specifically under 10 kilodaltons. Because of their tiny size, they act as specific bioactive ligands for cellular receptors in the body. By delivering these fragments deep right at the supraperiosteal level, RevoShap acts as a true bioscaffold. So you get the immediate volume support that restores the facial silhouette, but simultaneously, those bioactive fragments seep into the surrounding tissue to activate fibroblasts. It's like hitting 2 birds with one stone. Immediate lift paired flawlessly with active regeneration. Let's trace that metabolic signaling path for a second. The oligo-HA fragments specifically bind to CD44 receptors expressed on human dermal fibroblasts. This binding initiates a mechanotransduction cascade. And this cascade right here is exactly what elevates RevoShap above passive fillers. It actively commands and reprograms dormant fibroblasts, triggering the de novo synthesis of type 1 collagen, type 3 collagen, and tropoelastin. It is literally replacing dead space with living native structure.
Section 4. Paris 2025 clinical proof.
We aren't just discussing theory here, so let's examine the exact performance metrics. A massive longitudinal trial in Paris randomized 150 subjects to compare RevoShap against legacy layering protocols. The results? RevoShap demonstrated a highly significant 94% volume retention rate at the 12-month endpoint. How is that even possible? Well, as the hyaluronic acid carrier undergoes natural enzymatic degradation over time, the newly synthesized collagen network steps right in. The bioscaffold maintains the structural integrity of those facial contours.
And to prove this wasn't just swelling or mechanical displacement, researchers performed 3 mm histological punch biopsies at 6 and 12 months. The biopsy data confirmed the biological induction outcomes perfectly, revealing a profound 34% biomimetic increase in type 1 collagen density compared to baseline. Contrast that with the legacy control groups. They only showed a 10 to 12% increase, which is just a minor reaction due to mechanical tissue stretching, not active signaling.
Furthermore, this biological induction yielded a 22% increase in elastin density and fiber organization. This is incredibly noteworthy because it proves a true restoration of the skin's youthful architecture and elasticity from within. That is something that is rarely, if ever, achieved with inert, passive fillers.
Section 5. Safety and Reversibility Profile.
Now, when we are replacing deep structural volume, safety is absolutely paramount. We need to look closely at how RevoShap compares against the semi-permanent biostimulators currently marketed for collagen production. Products like calcium hydroxylapatitite, such as Radis, and polylactic acid, like Sculptra, are widely used, but their primary mechanism relies on either mechanical tissue stretching or initiating a controlled inflammatory foreign body response. And most critically, they lack a rescue agent. They are non-reversible. If you run into a vascular occlusion or a nodule, you cannot dissolve them. RevoShap, however, achieves its biological regeneration through direct CD44 activation. Because it's a hyaluronic acid hybrid, it maintains the 100% reversibility of a standard HA filler. You get the raw power of a biostimulator with the ultimate clinical safety net.
Section 6. Optimizing clinic efficiency. Finally, let's translate all this molecular and structural superiority into tangible operational benefits. In any clinic, chair time is arguably your most expensive commodity. By condensing structural lift and deep regenerative hydration into a unified single syringe, clinics experience a massive boost in efficiency. You can optimize your inventory by stocking one SKU instead of two. You dramatically reduce patient trauma by using a single plane delivery, and you literally cut your active procedure time from 45+ minutes down to just 20 minutes. As the clinical summary eloquently puts it, you are finally equipped to provide the heavy lifting strength of legacy volumizers combined with the biological rejuvenation of a skin booster. One syringe, dual outcomes, immediate silhouette restoration and long-term dermal regeneration. This unified hybrid matrix truly represents the future of structural regeneration. It collapses the old split market silos, provides evidence-based neocollagenesis, and significantly optimizes practice ROI. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope this deep dive has given you a clear, objective understanding of the science behind RevoShap StimuHA. The only question left is, are you ready to elevate your clinical protocols and completely rethink what a single injection can achieve for your patients?